All right, today we're going over exercises that every man should be doing. And even if you're doing some of these, you could be doing them wrong and limiting how much you grow from them. So let's fix your form, unfuck your life, and get growing. So if you're somebody who avoids leg extensions because you were told it's a dangerous exercise, then more than likely, you also can't figure out why you keep getting beat at tic-tac-toe, even though you take the center every time. Or why, for some reason, your wife's breath smells like it has a hint of dick on it. What I'm trying to say in a nice way is that you're easily duped because this is a phenomenal exercise. Just take a step back and think about it this way. This piece is one of the most prevalent machines there is. Good luck walking into a gym anywhere and not seeing a leg extension. Even shitty apartment gyms, they have a couple plastic dumbbells, an old treadmill that's belt skips when you walk on it, and a dilapidated exercise ball. Still, usually have a leg extension. And from a liability standpoint, if knees were actually blown up left and right, that wouldn't be the case. But when people talk about these, you can't even glance at them. If you do, you're going to spend the rest of your life in those leg braces from Forrest Gump. What I think happened is a few people ruined it for everybody. You know who you are. You went way too heavy to the point your butt got lifted off the pad, and the only way to contract that weight up is you had to grab those handles and yank yourself down, and you continue this abusive relationship until your knees just said, fuck it, I'm out. So what I want you to do instead, that's not only going to keep you safer but lead to better results, is stay in those higher rep ranges. Minimum 20 reps. I like to do 30. If you want to get crazy, do 50. But even more important than that, instead of holding the handles, I want you to hold on to just your legs, because you'd be surprised how much tension you lose by gripping those handles and throwing that weight up. It also ensures that you have to use a weight that's light enough that your own body weight can keep your butt down. And you're not like everybody else who just grips those handles and hyperextends those knees, because we don't want that either. We want a nice, slow, controlled contraction. And if it's too light and you feel like you're going to get more reps than you want, just slow it down. It'll get hard. So if you're somebody who avoids a Smith machine because that fixed path makes it more dangerous, or you think you get more activation out of free weights, then more than likely when you were a baby, your dad was tasked to watch you while your mom did something, and then he proceeded to pretend you were a football and he fumbled your ass. He quickly recovered you and blamed your deafening cries on a rogue bee, but the fact remains you were never the same. To this day, your dad still drinks. Because not only is it safe, we can also exploit the fact that that path is fixed and do exercises that you really can't do on other machines and get a horribly painful connection. Like for shoulders, we can do a unilateral press where, since all we have to focus on is the up and down motion, we can work against it and really lean back during the negative and make that contraction harder by leaning forward. Or like wide grip upright rows, which are great to do with dumbbells or a barbell, but after a while you start to drop those elbows, those wrists get wonky, and it turns into a steaming pile of shit. With the Smith, you have a very clear reference if you're doing it right or wrong, just by looking over your arm, and if it's in line with the Smith, you're good to go. And if you don't have the shoulder flexibility to do it, you can work with the Smith. Just lean slightly forward, put that shoulder in a more comfortable position, and then all you have to do is focus on driving that contraction into that lateral head. And when it comes to back, doing a paused or pendulum row on these will appeal to both the novice and advanced lifter, because for the newer lifter who can't get barbell rows just right, they end up bending their knees too much or they lose their back at some point, they can narrow their focus on these, get their form right, and then go to traditional rows. For the advanced lifter, they can slow this movement down to a crawl, exaggerate the contraction, and make this one of the most brutal back exercises there is. I'm going to assume you want a good chest exercise as well. If that's the case, we're going to need this thing, because if you thought it was for safety, it's not. It's for fuckery, which allows us to do one of my favorite pressing movements, which is a Smith press with a complete pause. Because normally when you train by yourself, even if you're doing a Smith, you get close to failure, your butthole gets a little tight, and then you go shit and you rack it. With these, you're supposed to fail. You're going to bring it all the way down, rest a second, take a couple deep breaths, force out another rep. Can't do it, just take a little bit longer rest and try to force out. You might get 2 or 3 more reps than you normally would, and it's less like that. So I've made videos in the past going over dumbbell flies and kickbacks, which I think are phenomenal exercises, but instead of rehashing those, I'll link them above and go over a mistake that most people make with every single exercise. And it has to do with what you deem a successful workout. Because my wife and I go to a gym by our house, and there's a guy there that we hate. Both of us hate him. He knows we hate him because we try to burn him with our eyes every time we see him. And it's simply because when he gets done with his set, he slams his weight. But I have to respect the fact that he pushes himself to failure every single time. He still looks awful because you can tell he has a horrible diet, but he has my respect, even though I hope every time he leaves the gym, he trips, falls, stumbles, and gets hit by a bus. At least he's doing that. So am I saying that all your working sets should be done to complete failure? Yeah, To me, it never made sense to leave anything in the tank. We're trying to cause damage. So when I say I'm going to get 20 reps, it means I'm going to get 14 reps, force out 3 more awkward ones, and then a couple more that will disappoint your entire family. At the end of the day, if you're not getting results, simply kick your ass a little bit harder. If you need help, I'll leave a link to a 30-day program in the description, but most importantly, subscribe, flick that notification bell, and get after it, get growing. Talk to you soon.